every woman should know finance way before men.
An MBA degree during my education was 11 lakhs. And for the same college, the MBA degree currently is probably around 20 lakhs.
I think it's a deeply cultural issue that we experience in India, which is having a Shadi fund but not having a edu fund, right?
Yesterday was the best time to invest, and today is the second best.
And he used to always, until date, he just says one sentence: what if I'm not there around?
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Dreams with EduFund. My name is Ila Dubey. I'm one of the co-founders of EduFund, and I'm going to be your host today. In conversation, I have with us Neeraj and Akanksha Satnalika. Welcome.
Thank you.
They are parents to a very precious 1-year-old, and they also happen to be my two colleagues. Welcome. Very happy to have you and learn more about your story.
Thank you. Same here.
I'm personally very excited to share their story because I think it's fantastic. All right, so let's get started. My first question is, tell us a little bit about yourselves and your background.
Sure. So I completed my MBA from IMT Ghaziabad in 2013. I hail from a small town in Bengal and wanted to pursue higher education, so moved out of Kolkata. And that's when I went to Ghaziabad for my MBA. And from there, I came to Bombay for my corporate career. In addition to that, I also pursued a PhD from IIT Bombay there. And while I was working in the corporate, I worked with CRISIL, and then I moved to Bangalore and Goldman Sachs. And now I'm currently residing in Pune and is a part of EduFund from last 3 years.
What about you, Akanksha? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay, so I come from Kolkata, and I have done my BCom and diploma in fashion designing, though it's a very different field. And now after that, I worked under a designer for 2 years. Then I got married and came to Pune, worked for say 7 to 8 months under a designer. Then I understood, okay, Pune industry is not where I can work as a designer. So I thought of starting my own startup called Just Cook. It was into ready to cook items, and then because of the COVID situations, we had to shut it down. And after that, I joined EduFund, and now I'm the marketing head over there.
What was the journey of getting your own education like? Was it difficult to procure?
Sure. So I come from a middle class family, and I mean we are 3 siblings, and I have 2 elder daughters, sisters. So my father is a businessman, and saving for the education of all the 3 siblings, it was a little hard for him. And my eldest sister actually pursued a CA, and that is when he realized that it is going to be a little challenging. And then he started applying for education loan in banks. And at the time of the education loan of my second sister, where she was pursuing an MBA from SC Jain, it was very hard and challenging for her because she was not able to secure a loan, despite SC Jain being one of the top 10 colleges in India. And that is when my father, after out of frustration, he said that we should write to RBI. And apparently, we were lucky enough or fortunate enough that her letter came in the board meeting of RBI, and she was called to Kolkata to help her understand what exactly was the issue. And we were able to get a loan in less than, I think, 10 days, because they were asking for a collateral, which was our primary residence. So that is when my father actually said that it's very important that we save for you should save for your future generation's education.
What were the challenges?
As per the government norms, it is said that when you are going to pursue education, up to 4 lakh rupees of education loan can be availed without any collateral, and up to 7 lakhs can be procured without any collateral, but up to 4 lakhs can be done without a guarantor also. But when my father actually approached the PSU banks, they were not entertaining it at all, and in fact they were asking for a collateral and a co-signer, which we were not having. And when we talked about collateral, the only answer my father could give is that if I give my primary residence, how can I even live? And when they were asking for a secondary collateral, the natural answer was that if I would have had a collateral, I would not have been standing in a bank to ask for a loan. I would probably sell my property and finance the loan.
Coming to you, Akanksha, now. Love to know a little bit more about what your journey was like.
Honestly, my journey was not that difficult because I did my studies in Calcutta itself, and we have good schools over there. When I wanted to opt for designing, I wanted to go out from Calcutta. And going out of, I wanted to have a very good college for myself to study for fashion designing. So my father was like, you can obviously do fashion designing, that's not a problem. But one condition that is there from my end is that you need to do it in Calcutta itself. So either you study hard and opt for Calcutta or just forget about it.
So that was a constraint that
because obviously if you go out and study, you have another lot of expenses.
Do you feel that if finances were not a challenge for your family, that you would have opted to go out and do another course that you really liked?
Yeah, obviously. You have, it's like now that time I had just one option, and if finance wouldn't have been a problem, I would have hundreds of other options. And most important point is, being in India, parents are more concerned about daughter's marriage, and being two sisters, we are two sisters, it was more of a pressure on him that no, I need to save more of money for their wedding than for the education.
I think it's a deeply cultural issue that we experience in India, which is having a shadi fund but not having a edu fund, right? You started planning and saving for Kriyansh well before he was born. In fact, one unique point is that Akanksha was the first ever investor on the EduFund app before she even joined us as one of our colleagues, but she was our first investor. She was not a mom at the time. So tell me a little bit about your investment strategy, right? And what all expenses did you have covered by the time he was born?
It was very crystal clear in my mind that I want to be financially independent and I want my child to not face any challenges because of the finance part. And that is when I interacted with Arindam and I joined EduFund. And when I was talking to Akanksha, I said that I think this is one platform where we can actually set aside some money for our child's purpose, because savings to shared har koi karta hai. But the biggest problem is that when people see money growing and savings is something which is very boring, right? People have a habit that, okay, I cannot wait for 10 years for my money to actually reach my goal. In between, they will start withdrawing. And that is where you actually derail from your entire path.
Sure.
Right? So that is when I spoke to Akanksha that this is what EduFund is doing. And then she came up with the idea that why not start my savings on the app, and then accordingly, we will set aside that money for our baby. And once we are ready financially, then we'll start planning. And that is how she became the first customer of EduFund. And the entire expenses of medical and hospital bills, other than that, the entire 9 months pregnancy expenses, all of those were covered with the savings which she did it on the app.
Sure.
In fact, what we did was, with the help of the app, we have now started saving for every single expense which we may encounter for him.
What are some of the instruments that you have conviction in? Not as, let's say, a colleague of EduFund or someone that works here, but as a parent, as an investor who's done independent research.
I strongly believe in one statement which was said by an ace investor, that yesterday was the best time to invest and today is the second best.
Yes.
Right. So if you talk about an investment instrument, this is purely on the basis of my research, and what I strongly believe in is that equities are the only instrument which can actually beat inflation. And for considering equities, there are multiple options. For example, you have mutual funds, and then there are single stocks also. And that people can choose on the basis of their financial literacy. If they have time, if they have willingness, if they have understanding of the market, they should probably go for naked equities, or else they should just rely on the fund managers through mutual funds. In addition to that, there are other instruments like fixed deposits, and then you have bonds and other things. Those, I think, will only make sense where you are looking to plan for something which is very short term, because you don't want to risk your capital. So until unless anything is beyond, is less than 2 years, you should not plan for fixed deposits or even bonds or fixed recurring deposits and stuff.
Akanksha, my next question is for you. What was it like to first get started? Did you know what you were doing? Did you know what mutual funds were?
So, if I'll take you to the point when I got married, I was a person before that, and even after that, for a year or so, I was a person who was not worried about anything. I was a person who just wanted to live my life. That's it. What is finance? What is responsibility? I didn't know anything. But when he started talking about those things, slowly it got into my mind. And he used to always, until date, he just says one sentence: "What if I'm not there around? What will you do?" And that strikes me. Okay, I need to be independent. I need to know the finances. If I don't know the finances, how will I look after the family? So this sentence almost comes every week once. It so happens. So what if I am not there? And that sentence has fitted my mind so well that I every day start my day. I have to be independent. I want to know my finances. I want to know how it has to go. I need to go forward and take care of the family behind me. So, and now obviously it's Kriyansh also. So I need to look after him also. So when it comes to, before it was just parents, now it is my child also. So when we have so many of them to look after, and getting into EduFund, when I started working in marketing, obviously we need to feature a lot of products. I started asking Neeraj questions every day. What is this? What is this? And when I got to know about it, I was like, why are we not doing it, Neeraj? We should do it. He's like, yeah, we should do it. Plan it out. He used to put it on me, plan it out. I got a moral lesson that every woman should know finance way before men.
So I'm sure that there are probably some new moms or to-be moms that subscribe to our channel and also watch this series. What would your advice to them be?
As I am in EduFund, I know a feature, there is a called Learn section in ours, which I think people should actually go and look into. And also we have quizzes over there, which we should play and understand, okay, what is, that helps us gain more of knowledge. How much we know ourselves and how much we should know.
Any ballpark figure of how much it's going to cost from the time of nursery through college? What does that figure look like?
So before giving that number, I'll just share some numbers around our planning. As you mentioned that we have planned ahead of our time. And that's why our expenses of 9 months pregnancy and the entire hospital expenses were easily taken care of. So just to give some perspective, we just had an SIP of 1,000 rupees for that. And that started when EduFund started.
Oh.
Right. So as a first customer of EduFund, the first goal was around pre-pregnancy, like pregnancy and pre-delivery expenses and the hospitalization expenses. And for that, all we did was 1,000 rupees SIP.
That's amazing.
And coming to your question related to the numbers which will be there for Kriyansh. So we have done some research around schools which are there in India. And we would definitely want Kriyansh to go to a boarding school. And in fact, I have zeroed down on some of the names also of the schools.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So on the basis of that, we have planned that if he has to go to a boarding school in Dehradun or even Panchgani, he will have to spend roughly around more than, say, 50,000 rupees per month in the school.
50,000 rupees per month
in the school.
And how long would that be for?
This is the current fees.
Wow.
And this, when multiplies in future because of the inflation, will become, say, more than 1.2 lakhs. And if Kriyansh is supposed to go to college after 15 years from now, then the cost is definitely going to more than double. So it is definitely going to cost upwards of 1 CR in India.
Just for college?
Just for college.
So would it be fair to say that the total cost of this education could exceed 1.5 CR? Easily. And that's something that you're well in advance preparing.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd want to share about your journey with our audience?
Just one thing that I want to say is start saving from now on. If not done yesterday, then today.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. And I'm very excited for Kriyansh's future. Thank you again to our viewers. And that's a wrap. See you on the next episode of Chasing Dreams with EduFund.